is a great segue into the next category the viewers have voted for, which is Arsenal to win the Premier League. Now, everyone's seen my video. I put it out on Tuesday. I think Arsenal are going to win the league. I think Arsenal are going to do it from this point. And I've based it on what my eyes see. I've based it on the data behind it, not just the very good XG that I know David likes. They've got the very best in the league XG against. Their defense, and the reason I back that is because that also matches what I'm seeing. Teams are creating very few clear-cut chances against them. Also, no teams had this many points after 14 games not won the league. The feel-good factor at the club, and I do believe they're going to reinvest in the summer. Plus, there's something about Man City. I just don't think they're as good this year as they were last year, irrespective of the record-breaking goals that Haaland will score. And people keep saying, well, what if Gabriel Jesus gets injured or Odegaard? I think it's far more likely that Erling Haaland gets injured than it is one of those two players. So for me, I mean, it doesn't matter to me if I'm wrong. It's not going to ruin my career. It's not going to ruin my life. But I think Arsenal are going to win the league. So I understand your point, Patrick. Of course, there is a chance that Arsenal fall off and Tottenham overtake them. But I think there's more of a chance of Arsenal winning. But I think there's more of a chance of Arsenal. But I think Arsenal. Yeah, but again, if you're sitting there and getting annoyed that no one believes you that Spurs can overtake Arsenal from this point.
I'm seeing the comments and people are acting like I'm talking crazy talk, and it's like if football, like they keep saying history has a
well, you are talking crazy, my guy.
I'm not talking crazy because you're telling me what you come back with. Your rebuttal was, can Tottenham in a title race? Because like, what the fuck were you even on about? That didn't even make no sense. That made no sense. That made no sense. All I'm saying is that
with the inconsistency
Tottenham yeah, we have been inconsistent, but we're still fourth in the league right now. Even though everyone's saying, "Oh, you this and that," we're still fourth. We're 1 point behind third. That's not a trophy, but I'm just trying to say where we are. We're 1 point behind third. How can we not with how many points? I don't even know how many points are left on the league. There's a lot. You're 8 points over. It's not unthinkable to say we can turn that around. Like, it's really not.
Do you know Arsenal have a game in hand on you, don't they? So Arsenal could theoretically end up being 11 points clear of you.
Arsenal theoretically, 5 points left. Spurs have 72.
Theoretically,
I mean, Arsenal have had the 5th best start in Premier League history. I just don't see how they're going to bottle it from that point to the point where Tottenham Hotspur.
Bro, Arsenal have been in this position before and still not won the league. Have they not?
I don't think they're going to win the league. I think they can win it, but I don't think they will win it because I just think you can never rule out Man City. And if Haaland stays fit, he's had his injury problems, and City struggle when he's not there. They've clearly built this system around Haaland, and they don't have. I would say they don't have much idea what to do when he's not there. Cross and hope for Haaland won't happen when Haaland's not there. But if he stays fit, there's no stopping them. You can't stop that. And I just think there are inconsistencies that will hit this off.
They can stop that, though, Tom. Just to rebut that, they can stop it because they're 5 points clear of them with Haaland. This is why the Haaland argument doesn't hold up. And I get where Patrick's coming from. History will repeat itself. But if we look at history, no team has ever had this good a start. No team has ever been this good at playing football, had this start. No team has ever been this good at football with this kind of start, with the underlying metrics backing them and not won the league. People say things like, Arsenal been top at Christmas and not won the league. If you go back to those times, they weren't the favourites. And they were at the top, but it was like United were playing better football. United were better than them. You go back to last year where Chelsea, I think, had 34 points after 13 games. Chelsea fans were coming on our show saying, yeah, but something don't feel right. Something doesn't look right. We're winning the games, but we're not doing it in a convincing way. We're not looking great. None of that's being said about this Arsenal team. I think you are right, Patrick. I think the reason that more people aren't backing Arsenal is because of nearly 20 years without a title and failing in their last handful of title races. But I just think this is a completely different Arsenal. And to this super chat, Arsenal scared Patrick. I think we've got to this point, and
they really don't. I'm talking logically. This is a young team. They've never done it before. Young team, never done it before. You got City, who even if they do something doesn't look as right with City right now, but come on, like they're tried and tested. With Pep Guardiola as a manager.
That's one thing,
and
I agree with Patrick on, like, Man City we've seen it before. Man City have started a league horribly before, you're kind of like they're not going to do it. They've gone past it. Pep Guardiola is going to leave, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as December, January comes, boom, kicks into gear. They go on to a 15-game winning streak.
You know what's mad? And Jan put up something on Twitter, and she goes, "Our start last year is exactly the same as our start this year," and it's literally like for like. And then obviously they kicked into gear, and you saw what they did. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think Arsenal win the league, and it's nothing to do with Arsenal. You know what I mean? Not really. Not like the team is bad or they're gonna fall off so badly and they're gonna be crap. No, it's you're facing against a juggernaut and a giant in one of the greatest I hate to say it because they've done it in the last 10 years. You're coming against one of the greatest teams the Premier League has ever seen, and it took flipping Liverpool to go 99 points to beat said team. For me, that is very to expect Arsenal to do that. I think is unfair. I think the two biggest things that will have to go in Arsenal's favor for them to win the league is one, they have to beat Man City at least once and draw. They can't lose to Man City at any single point. And two, KSE. See, Arsenal fans are loving KSE right now. They're loving the Cronkies. Just Cronky's the guy. Different Arsenal. Yo, you got flipping Cronky and Igal over there as well. I heard what he said. You know what I mean? Listen, they've got Edu now, sporting director of the club. That's all nice. But last January, when you needed a striker to go and to make top four, they didn't get it. I've seen countless time and time again where the Cronkies and KSE only do what's required and not what is the maximum to get them over the line. I, as a rival, outside looking in, do not trust the Cronkies. I don't trust them to do what needs to be done to get them over the line. And in January, they need an extra midfielder or an extra attacker to do that. And I don't think they will. They will try, but I don't think they will.
So basically you're saying what will decide this title race for Arsenal is if we can get a player in January. And I agree with you.
No. And beat Man City and not lose a single point.
I think where there's a lot of ifs about Arsenal, which I agree, and there's also a lot of ifs about Manchester City. Defensively, they've not been the best team this season, and they've been conceding a lot of goals, but yet they're still one of the better defenses in the league. It's kind of crazy to think. They've been dropping points to lesser teams, which you wouldn't have seen over the last couple of years. And another major thing that I'm looking at is this Arsenal team is young, and it does have a little bit. It does lack a little experience, but we bought some of those guys. We brought in some of those experienced heads. We brought in some of those players that are changing the game, like what's it called? William Saliba defensively and everything else. And I genuinely believe we have the bedrock to improve. Don't forget, this is still the youngest team in the league. So if we don't win it this year, we have the tools and everything in place to potentially go again next year. This is not an old team that is going to be done next season. This is still the youngest team with the youngest manager, and we're only going to improve. Yeah. So to say we don't win it this year, what's to say we don't have a team that can win it again next year or go again next year?
I was going to say your biggest strength is your biggest weakness in the fact that you are a youthful team, because youth is great, and everyone knows I'm not the biggest fan of youth, but youth is great at the start when they're all bouncing and it's feeling great. But and it will happen, because just numbers say it will happen, you'll lose a game or you'll lose two in a row, and then before you know it, those young heads, they all drop and you don't have the leaders in the squad, and before you know it, Man City are on their run where they're about to win 15, 20 games in a row, and then they've overtaken you, and then you've got City at the Etihad and they beat you, and it's like the misery can just compile on your team, and then before you know it, you're out of it. And then Patrick goes, oh, Spurs going to finish above you, and they're only 4 points behind. And these things, they can happen. The odds of them happening are, again, they're up in the air. We don't know how this World Cup's going to affect everyone, but I am backing Man City personally. I'm just backing Man City because
I forgot that World Cup. David, the World Cup is going to affect them the most, because they have 16 players going. Majority of those players are starters. And you know what? In comparison to us who have 10, and some of those players that are going, let's be real, they're not going to get as much run as some of the City players. So
yeah, but City have more depth, though. You got to remember that as well, Gal. City have more depth. They've got more quality.
They have more quality, but they don't have as much depth as some of these other teams you would think. If they have 16
Arsenal, we're talking about Arsenal. We're comparing you two, because you're the two teams that
they have 16 players going to the World Cup, right? Almost a full 11 is going, and it's going to be starting week in, week out. And some of those players are going to be going far in the tournament. They're going to be coming back facing Liverpool, and then they're going to be going straight back into the league. They are at a much bigger disadvantage coming out of this World Cup than we are. That's just the reality. And they're not going to strengthen in January. Pep has already said they're not.
And I get you on that. Let's do some of these super chats that have come through here. First one from Dex says, Patrick, there are players in the Arsenal side who have done it before. This Arsenal team is a different Arsenal, is what Dex says. Tarek says, we've done it. We've done it in 1989 against the juggernauts Liverpool, is what Tarek says there. Patrick, do a Sol Campbell and win a title with us.
That's good. That's a good one. That's funny.
That's a very good super chat. Arsenal broke Patrick. Wipe your tears, boy, is what Gerard says. Gerald says, sorry. City start poor this season. Has 2 starts though. That's also a great. That's another great argument.
That's a good point. That's a good
I'm
point.
saving that one for my next Arsenal scare video. Hang on, let me know.
Make a note. And also you can take credit for it. It's just name. Super chat was just name.
Yeah. This here says Spurs are vampires, scared of silverware.
You Arsenal fans are on a roll today. I'll give you that. You're on a roll.
Patrick, stop saying Arsenal have been at this point before and bottled it. We're literally never been at this point in our history.
Yes, you have. You know what's funny? When Leicester won the league, who was top at Christmas?
This is where again
different top of Christmas.
No one's answering it. Who was top at Christmas?
Again, but you know what, mate? That's in terms of being top at Christmas, yes. But were Arsenal in that season playing like they are now, winning like they are now? Did they?
Listen, that's all I'm saying. Who was top at Christmas? Because people are saying, "No, we've never been there." They're not being honest.
You're doing what Ronaldo did in the interview. You're going, "Oh, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes." Oh, what are those things behind the scenes? Stuff in it, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Evening, Terry and everyone. Patrick, Liverpool will catch Tottenham by March and pull away, is what Dinesh thinks, Patty.
I've got Liverpool in the top 4 as well, so it's all good. It's all good.
Here we go. Arsenal scared Patrick. We already had that. Thank you very much for that super chat, my guy. Patrick is gonna cry in the car. Is what Ollie says. I thought Ty was delusional. Patrick takes the cake. Spurs will finish behind United. Guaranteed is what Shane Malone says here.
Keep writing us off, bro. Keep writing us off. It's all good.
Josh says Spurs fans are just begging to be read. Spurs won't win a trophy, and Kane will be doing an interview with Piers Morgan to get out at the end of the season.
He'll be Gary Neville again. He'll go around the golf course with Gary Neville again.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Chat spam Latrick. I just this could become a saying on the terrace. Come on, Patrick. Do you know what I mean? I like that. Come on, Patrick. That's a good one. Patrick, this is Spurs' best start to a season ever. So you lot are going to match your club's best start in the second half of the season, is what O'Malley says.